Well, you know, we had to fart it out. Here it is. Terminator Dark fart. Man, let me tell you. Old Termy, he can't catch a break. What is this, like the 6 millionth time they try to reboot the franchise, make it, you know, make it have some old life in the old Terminator corpse again?
5th, if you count the show.
Yeah, and every time it's met with so much contention and really inter-fan fighting that nobody comes out the winner.
Yeah.
You know, the longest success we had, I guess, was the show, by default of it being a show and having more than one season. And even that, you know, went the way of the dodo. So nobody gets satisfied with these. And if they are satisfied with them, they never get the conclusion of them because it's the start of something.
Yeah.
The long story here is that Terminator 3 has been made about 1,000 times in 1,000 different iterations by now.
Yep.
The most recent being this one, Terminator Dark Fate, which the moment it hit, you know, the streets with that trailer, immediately all kinds of people were just crossing their, you know, their hands, their arms, and looking at like, nope, not gonna do it. Our boy Al was doing it.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody was fucking doing it, man. Like, I'm not gonna watch this. It's fucking garbage. I hate it already. And look, this gotta stop. In general, it's gotta stop. Like, I don't care if it is garbage. You gotta watch the fucking thing first before you decide, nope, fuck this. That's exactly what you look like when you fucking say that shit.
Except for Sanac the Hedgehog, we can tell you that's gonna suck ass.
I don't know, dude. Might win some Academy Awards.
Oh, that's true.
Or unless a black person directed it, then they'll be like, you can't get an award. But then they'll cry about it, and then they'll be like, dude, nobody can win. Either you're going to get one or you're not, or either nobody wins. Everybody's arguing. It sucks, dude. It sucks.
Can we reel it back here and just talk about a movie without getting killed?
The shit's getting out of control is what I'm saying, you know. PC culture is a big thing that's throwing a wrench in the works. And
puny cock culture, I call it.
It's totally us. Look, man. Let me put it this way: you might be thinking, "Oh, he's gonna blame the SJWs and you know, for slathering this piece up with a bunch of women." No, I'm not gonna blame the SJWs, although they fucking suck. I'm not even gonna blame the morons that immediately jump at something the moment they see a fucking titty. Like, all right, dude.
I think that is a big issue now.
It's like a big issue on both sides.
Yeah,
they're
dude.
both sounding like complete retards.
Weenies.
Just, is the movie good or not? That's it. Go and watch it. Don't make up your mind before that. But I'm asking too much now because that's all people do. So we just decided we're not going to say shit about this thing until we actually see it. And we just done that. And look, we're going to tell you right up if you don't know this already. We hated Terminator 3. Which was the original attempt to make Terminator 3.
It's pretty bad.
Sucked donkey balls.
I've seen it at least over 30 times, so I can confidently say that it is a piece of
that
shit.
It's anus.
Yes.
It's just a cheap knockoff of 2, and it's bad at that, and it achieves nothing. Maybe the ending was okay. That's about it. The Sarah Connor Chronicles we actually really enjoyed. Unfortunately, you know, it ended a little bit early, so that's a thing that happened. Terminator Salvation, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed where they were going, but we didn't get to see the other 2 movies, so it's kind of just there.
Yeah, I think it was okay.
It was fine. Genesis, I think, is the movie we enjoyed the most of the movies that came out that were potential Terminator 3s. And this is an unpopular opinion, of course, because everybody was like, I hate it.
I think what we respond to in the movies that we're kind of like serious with Salvation and Genesis is that they at least tried to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, Salvation was the first one where it's like, hey, it's not just that let's go back in time thing again.
Yeah.
And Genesis was like, let's do that, but at least mix it up to a point that it's interesting again.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the best you can do with a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
Because one thing that Dark Fate immediately lets you know, which really we've known for a long time, it's just Dark Fate kind of lets you know it. I don't know if that was intentional or not so much in the way that it kind of like sobers you up to watching the whole thing. But it kind of lets you know that part 1 and 2, that was kind of it for that storyline. Like, that's it. Like, it's like we've never gotten down through our heads, although we do know kind of instinctually, and a lot of people say it should have ended at 2, but they still go and watch the other ones. Like, oh, this one's going to be good. But really, like, it ended with 2. To add to that is to cheapen the ending of 2. So this movie kind of seeks to resolve that by saying, no, it happened. She stopped at that future, but much like Genesis and other ones, but the eventuality, the fate, if you will, of humanity is to kind of fuck around with AI, and eventually we're going to get there anyway. It's an alternate set of events that happen anyway.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
Genesis.
but it's set in that T1, T2 timeline, so there's that, so yeah, it's out there. Like, they put that up there at the beginning, and then the biggest way they put it out there is by, spoilers if you haven't seen it, they kill John Connor at the beginning, and then they skip forward a few years and kind of just let that drop on you, like, look, I mean, she saved the human race, technically, but he's dead. You know what I'm saying?
Homie dead.
A lot of people had...
Much like Edward Furlong's career.
Yeah, no shit. A lot of people had a big fucking problem with that. Like, oh, John's not... First of all, let's get this out of the way. Edward Furlong is not suitable for the big screen anymore. So, probably for the best. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on this? Would you have preferred that Edward Furlong return to the role of John Connor? Would you have preferred that they acknowledge John Connor's potential role, whatever it would have been?
I think at this point, it's beating a freaking dead corpse. Like, we already got the John Connor thing.
Yeah.
1 bazillion times. And this kind of doesn't, take that anything away from the other ones. It's just like, for this storyline to happen, that had to happen,
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I wouldn't want to see a freaking junky ass Edward Furlong.
Even somebody else playing John Connor, it's just never worked.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it too.
Plus, they killed him as a kid, so it's pretty great to see John Connor get shot in the face.
Yeah. Although we should have seen that other kid get shot in the face too. I mean, that was a cop out. But look,
I'm waiting for the director's cut where it's just a bunch of kids shooting.
Kids getting shot in the face edition.
Yeah.
Look, you got to move on from John.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody just instinctually knows, though they don't admit that 1 and 2 are basically it. That's it. Anything else, you're just wanting more for the sake of wanting more. You don't need it. And that's what a thing we can say about every single one of the sequels attempts at part 3, be it Rise of Machines all the way to this one, is that they're unnecessary. You don't need them.
The only thing you can do is show the future stuff, and even then, that's an alternate
timeline.
So.
You don't need them. They're all unnecessary. So are they enjoyable? That's the question at hand here. Did you enjoy this movie?
So I went into this assuming it was gonna stink a little.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thing against James Cameron.
I don't know why. He's provided you with fucking countless hours of entertainment.
Yeah, but he's a dick.
It doesn't matter. He's a great dick. James Cameron is one of the few people that's deserved being a dick. Each time he's dicked out, he's made greatness. Exception to Avatar.
Doesn't matter. He's a dick. It's also the only movie that I slept through in theater. Avatar.
You were sick as hell. But I don't blame you.
True, I was freaking drugged out.
It's not a great movie.
My brain, dude. It was pretty bad. Anyway, I just have a thing against him. My dick dart goes off.
He's a dick. There's no everybody's dick dart goes off. He's the first person to admit he's a fucking penis.
Yeah, so I don't like him. That's what I'm trying to get to.
But he's a dick for the right reason. He wants to get shit out there the way he wants it. He's a dictator on the set.
Homie not even doing anything, man. He makes like 1 movie every 50 years.
That's because he's about making that fucking movie.
And it freaking reeks. When it finally comes out, you're like, serious, dude, Avatar? That's what you wanted to make for 20 years?
You're focusing on one movie that you slept
That's
through,
like the only thing he's done in like the past 85 years.
He's made some of the great milestones of sci-fi cinema, and then some.
To take a page out of this movie that's in the past and doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters, baby. But anyway.
James Cameron's a piece of shit. I hate him. Tim Miller, I have a bone to pick against because he killed the goon.
Okay, so you're just saying you're biased now.
Yeah.
Let's put the biases aside. Where do we go from there?
Didn't care for the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I like how I was building up my case against the movie so that
It's a ludicrous case you're building.
No,
here.
you fool! Let me get to the point.
Right.
My point is, I have a bunch of shit to go against this movie, and yet I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for destroying my entire build-up.
I don't know, man. That build-up sounded awfully negative. But
Yeah,
anyway,
because James Cameron's a piece of shit, and I hate him. I
okay,
just want to bring that up there.
where do you stand in terms of the other attempts at Terminator 3? Where does this one stand? Does it stand at, behind which one? In front of which one? Behind which one? Is it your favorite attempt at a part 3? Is it your least favorite attempt? Obviously not, since you enjoyed it, but
I really like Genesis, but I think this is a better movie.
I think in the end, this is where I stand on it. In the end, by the way, I don't hate James Cameron. He is a dick, admittedly. Very large penis. And not in the pants department, just an asshole.
Dude, I have a feeling he did something.
Nah, he's too weirdly obsessed with himself and like strong women to have diddled, if that's what you're insinuating. Because your diddle-dar,
My diddle-dar
all of a sudden, just because you hate him, your diddle-dar goes
Nah,
off.
dude, so I've always hated him. Even like when I used to like his movies and shit, and he actually did stuff every, once in a while, I never liked him.
Yeah, nobody likes James Cameron.
Yes,
Everybody knows this.
So that's all I'm saying. I don't like James
You're not
Cameron.
breaking new ground here, but where your diddle-dar all of a sudden's going off.
Well, no, I don't want. I'm not gonna accuse him of diddling.
All right. No diddling accusations. Well, anyway, where I stand on this is that I think Genesis conceptually is a better movie, but I think this one is a better action movie. And I think this one harkens a lot more to the, I guess, what one would expect from a Terminator movie. Especially structurally, it's basically Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Only, it follows the same beats. We got the two Terminators coming in. We got they're on the run. We got the highway chases. It ends in a some sort of plant scenario.
Not only that, but like pacing wise, it's very similar.
Yeah. There's that moments of waiting and dialogue in the middle. All that stuff. It follows the structure of Terminator 2 basically. So I guess in that regard, it's what people would expect more. Terminator 3 did that also, but it sucked balls. This one does it better. Now, this one also cherry picks elements here and there from all the available Terminator 3 style options. We got the Rev 9, which is kind of like a conglomerate of everything that we've seen so far. The character that would be the defending human / Terminator is literally a combination. She's human, but she also has Terminator elements in her. So they kind of cherry picked here and there the best stuff, or what they conceived or thought were the best things, and just kind of packed them into this particular narrative. So it doesn't take as many chances as Genesis, which is why I'll place it behind Genesis. But I do think this is a better action movie than Genesis.
Yeah, and I think it's more consistent in tone. Like there was a lot more jokey stuff in Genesis.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nothing that we found gaga.
Yeah.
But this one's more like, tonally consistent, I think.
Yeah, and this one does feel like, even though we're obviously not gonna get two more because it was a colossal box office failure, it feels like you could just leave it there. Even though they set up the idea that this person they're now saving or now new de facto John Connor, if you will, clearly is now on the road to what the movie sets up as the new villain, basically as the new villainous AI, on the road to taking care of that issue, on top of resolving the issue with a character that dies on her, basically. So even though that's set up, it almost feels like a conclusion if you want it to be. So that's fine, I guess. You could just drop it there. We can fill in the blanks from there, if you will. Much more than Genesis, which sets up a lot more different things. But I'd still prefer Genesis as a movie. I know that's not a popular opinion in general, but I do think this is pretty damn good, entertaining little flick here. Now let's tackle some of the subject matter that a lot of people were up, getting their britches in a knot for. The woman thing. This has got to stop, guys. Look, I realize that some movies are out there touting an agenda. Yeah. I get that. This movie throws a little agenda here and there, mostly in relation to they have a throwaway line about the immigration system. That's blatantly like, we don't. Guess what, man? Everybody that writes anything puts in their thoughts into something. So these people put their thoughts into it. Is this a blatant agenda movie? No, it's not. It's not. Period. You know what I'm saying? Does it have 3 female characters in it? Yes. But you know why I say it's got to stop? Because it's kind of sounding gay now. Oh, these women in my movie. The fuck is this, Hollywood? All right, dude. You want a big fucking floppy penis in your face then? Then go ahead. Go ahead. It's called gay porn. There's an entire fucking section of it that can, sate your lust. You know what I'm saying? It's getting pathetic now, on both ends. I'll stress that because there are some movies that are just going on and out. It'll be like, check out my titties and shit, only all reserved and fancy titties, I call them. But anyway, the point is this a movie that's out there blatantly flopping around its vagina with an agenda? No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? We should be used to Sarah Connor being a fucking thing by now. One of the most strongest female leads ever. So we should be used to that. We should be used to James Cameron, who was heavily involved in this movie.
And huge penis.
Bringing out the strong female leads, because that's kind of one of his fucking calling cards. So we should be used to that. A lot of people pointed out, again, before they even saw the fucking thing, and they had to bring a chick and then make her look like a man. Dude, if that looks like a man to you, then bring me all the dicks in the world so they can ride on mine, because that's a hot-ass fucking chick. I don't understand this, man. Where is this going? I don't get where this argument is going in the end. You know what I'm saying? Well, what? I don't get it. Is this an agenda movie to you? Yes or no?
No. I think you just said everything, so no.
It's gay, dude. It's getting gay, dude.
I think there is a line that is it's not even the agenda thing. I just thought it was a corny ass line. Mm-hmm. Once the actual thing behind the people, the chick they're saving comes out, the story which tells them everything. The man droid apparently. Mm-hmm. It cuts to Sarah Connor. She's like, she's John Connor, and she says it twice. I understand why it's in there, and in the character it makes sense. It was just a little way too on the nose, I get it. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to bring this character into those shoes. But that is like the one line I think that can come off as that, like, screw your man. And really, it's just a corny line, I thought.
Really, I think it's for the retards that don't fucking get it.
Yeah, really.
Because, look, man, yes, technically, this movie replaces John Connor with a female. Technically. If we're just going to surface level call it like it is, it does. But that's because John Connor, his arc is literally... It ended, guys. We, as fans, have been saying this for years. Part 2 should have been the end. This movie acknowledges that, like, straight up front and center. It basically goes, look, yeah, they altered the future. Bang, now he's dead because Edward Furlong sucks donkeys. You know what I'm saying? Let's move on. And in this new future that's arisen, there's gonna, it's not, they relieve Sarah of her duties, as it were. And in the process, of course, John, because he's not even a thing anymore. John's not even a thing in that future. Some people will get mad at that. They took my John away. Well, what do you think the end of part 2 did? It literally ended the need for John to be a thing in the future because they ended Judgment Day. It already happened. This movie didn't do it. Part 2 did that. So, boom. So, look, one of the things that when we talked about part 2 special edition, I pointed out that there's like a strong undertone of the idea of the nuclear family in that. This movie has a similar tone in it, Only here we have, instead of a mother saving her son and the need for a father figure, here we have a daughter saving her mother. So it takes a similar concept, only with these new characters, because guess what, guys? This fucking series, if it's ever going to move on, it needs to move the fuck on.
I think that is something that can't be ignored. You know, even though it does set up, you know, it does bring in new characters and tries to do that to, you know, move on. This is a series that keeps holding on to the past.
Yeah, you can't. Arnold's ancient.
Yeah,
you know, you can only rehash so many things so many times.
Yeah, and that is one thing that I think Genesis did, you know, but it at least tried to take it in a different place. You know,
put a spin on it. Yeah,
it set up something so that it can finally move on, and I think that this one just told you, like, dude, this is it. You gotta stop. You gotta stop.
You gotta move the fuck.
They have that scene with the Terminator, you know, like at the end, it just comes off as like a freaking, you know, Arnold that comes off as
a goodbye.
A goodbye.
Yeah,
like, this dude, he's too old.
Yes,
we gotta move on from this shit.
Yes, just from a simple, if you sit down and think point of view, why the fuck would they keep on sending the same model, the same look of Terminator over and over? Because we're retarded as fucking the viewing audience. We just want Arnold on the screen. That's it. So if you want to chimp out on Arnold, fine, do that. But this movie's literally telling you, we gotta have new characters. Otherwise this thing's gonna stagnate and just be the same thing over and over again. So it plays a fine line, because it technically kinda does play the same violin, with the same structure and everything, but yeah, it sets up this different thing, which of course we're not going to see because this thing was a failure. So yeah, I don't think the complaints about that are justified. I get it. You liked your John. Cool. That's done. It's done. Period. So, I mean, well, give me something, man. Is there something that you heard somebody say maybe that didn't prove to be true, or conversely that it proved to be true? Anything at all that you want to say about this?
Not really, to be honest. I never even listened to the reaction to this. There was something really uninteresting to me about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe because of that first trailer, it just didn't look very cool to me. I wasn't like pissed about it or anything. I wasn't like women and shit or anything, but it just wasn't something that looked interesting, you know? I know you liked the trailers, but I was like, eh. That being said, I think that my disconnection, I guess, from the freaking audience, you know, the people that were crying, was probably a good thing, because I didn't go into this with thinking shit. I do think that it is a ridiculous thing at this point. Like, I did see a lot of, you know, like thumbnails of videos of crying about the women thing, and it's like, dude, you can't have any women now?
Yeah, it's super gay, dude. I'm just fucking calling it as it is. It's gone.
Like, look, I understand. I understand that is a thing that is happening. You know,
it
especially
is.
like in the comics realm with Marvel Comics, and you know, it is a thing that is happening. The push for equality is becoming very
cloying. It's almost too much now.
Yeah, it's coming to a point where it's not an equal thing. It's like, you are the bad guy. I get it, but now you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, and it's super gay. Just gotta point that out. I don't want women. God, dude, I'm gonna start putting just straight up naked dudes in movies. That's right, I direct movies now. I'm just gonna start doing that and be like, all right, well, there you go. There's a fucking big fat veiny wang for 2 hours and a half. Hope you like it. Look, yeah, and look, there's some validity to it. We get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, did we need Ocean's 8? No, we didn't. Did we need Ghostbusters 2016, where they disregarded the other two and just went straight out? And look, we were like, all right, it's a movie we saw. We didn't hate it. But did we need it? No, we didn't. But do we need to be inclusive of chicks? Yeah, that was a fucking big problem, man. That's why people like Ripley and fucking Sarah Connor stood out, because there wasn't that much of it. So God forbid we should, like, I don't know, let other people have a fucking little time in the sun. And sometimes it's not what you make it out to be. And I find that that's the real issue, that people are just deciding ahead of time, this is what this is. I'm going to hate it.
Yeah, I do think, I may be wrong on this. To be honest, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But I do, if I remember correctly, Tim Miller did say some stuff that
Tim Miller
like
said, look, and I don't know if you'll agree with this.
So maybe that riled people up.
It definitely riled, but the problem is people were already riled up. They're already wanting to be fucking butthurt about it. So yeah, Tim Miller defensively said some bullshit, and in all honesty, fuck it, man. What do you expect people to just take your fucking endless abuse and and assumptions and accusations? I wouldn't. I'd be like, fuck you, you freaking dumbass. How about that? Eat my freaking feast. Suck on my butt pipe. How about that?
This is a very aggressive video.
It's retarded, dude. It's borderline retarded now. Because no side is right now. They're all chimping out on some bullshit.
That's something I'll agree with. It's just like both sides are freaking gay.
Yeah,
crying
it's
about
weird,
everything.
Man.
It's like, dude,
it's not good.
You do realize that you who were outraged over the whole, it going too far, are now going too far, and now you're the weenie also.
Yeah.
Everybody's a weenie, dude.
Everybody's weaning out. You know what I'm saying? The people wanting, some form of justice, some form of, equality, are not realizing that progress is gradual. You can't force progress.
Yeah, it's gonna rub people the wrong way.
It's gonna rub people the wrong way. And is that ignorant and behind of them? Yeah, a little bit. But, I don't know. We've been around for millennia now. It's kind of hard to change people in the span of a few fucking decades. You know what I'm saying? So, chill. You get, not every white cis male, which is a fucking thing now, is out to get you. Vice versa. Dudes, not every fucking person is trying to cram a vagina down your throat. And if you're a dude, you should probably be happy about that. The other way. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's getting ridiculous. So I don't think this movie...
it is worth a note that there's not really that much talking. I don't even think there is any, maybe one moment of talking down to the man or anything. And even if there was, it was like a throwaway joke or something, I'm only saying that because I think there was one that you could construe as that, and I just don't remember it. But... I understand if it was every second like weird ladies, this shitty men suck, but there really isn't.
Even if there was one line, which again, if there was I can't remember. Even if there was one line where they're like throw some throwaway line jabbing at a dude. It was probably just
acknowledging it. Yeah.
Can we not fucking forget that literally there's decades and decades of, deriding women on screen as a joke? And it's kind of like accepted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't fucking bother me, dude. It just does not fucking bother me. And I don't think this movie even goes there to begin with.
Yeah.
So that fucking entire controversy is anus shoots because it means nothing. It means nothing. So you're either going to go into this with a preset to fucking blow a fucking gasket over the fact that there's a freaking chick in it, or more than one, God forbid, or not. And the sad fact is that I think the majority of people are just ready to go in and go, fuck this shit. And that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, I think it's also worth to note that with the every movie since part 3, it's time to look at the series and realize that maybe it's not as big of a blockbuster as you think it is.
That too, man.
Maybe this is more of a niche little thing that just happened to be a big success back in when part 2 came out. Except I don't even think the first one was that huge a success compared to the second one, of course.
Yeah, compared.
So it's kind of like, as studios, we got to look at that. They got to start looking at that. Like, maybe this should have a lower budget. Maybe this is just not a big thing. It's not as big a thing as they wanted to be. So seeing, that's just I know it's a completely different thing. It's just something that should be looked at, and that's something that's a problem in Hollywood as a whole. Like the whole dark universe thing. It's like, why do you want to make these massive budget movies over something that is by design supposed to be small, you know, horror.
Yeah,
And that's just something, you know.
And with this fucking series in particular, we've had more than 3 examples of why you shouldn't be investing bazillions of dollars into a Terminator movie. Like you said, they should scale this down. Part 1 cost fucking peanuts.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking effective ass movie. You know what I'm saying? They literally prevented Judgment Day at the end of part 2. That means they could scale it back all the way down. But they don't. They go all the way out every time, and they don't get returns on it.
They try to make it this humongous. Like, I would like to see a Terminator movie that is in the future, because, you know, that is something that we got, but, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, something that isn't explored as much in the future, but that 80s future. You know, like in Salvation, we got like a different kind of future. Go back to that cool 80s future and make it as you know, like how it would feel like to be a human in there, like scary and shit.
Yeah.
Scale it back, something interesting, instead of, you know, and that is a problem with the series, that they're just making these massive movies every time, expecting a humongous return, when obviously the audience isn't there anymore. And it isn't just a problem with this movie; it's we've seen in the last few.
Yeah, absolutely. So they went massive with this one. So that's a thing. And look, I'll be honest with you, some of the massive in this movie works quite well. Again, very reminiscent to part 2, but in a good way. You know, you're like, all right, it's got some legitimately good action sequences in it, for damn sure. Some of it doesn't work for me. I don't know if you'll agree with this or not. I think the plane sequence at the end was a little fucking over the top.
Yeah.
But it was fine, but a little too fucking silly.
I think a lot of chunks in that scene worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
But
Chunks, I think they had a good idea, but it's just
it was a little too much,
overblown and kind of like, all right, that's not realistic. Which brings me to this. This movie, like a lot of the other ones that have followed part 2, make you kind of bemoan that we don't have that physical effect, weight, feeling to things anymore. So this one has a lot of CGI dependent effects. Some of them work wonderfully, and some of them, I mean, it's a CGI effect, you know, so it doesn't look great. And in a Terminator movie that follows part 1 and 2, which are like fucking milestones in physical effects and CGI that looked physical for the most part, it's a noticeable thing that, you know, it just kind of stuck out, you know. But that's been the case with since the first part 3.
Yeah.
So
I do think a lot of the effects are surprisingly good. The movie, like visually, not in a, you know, story wise, I guess. Visually, it has a darker tone. Like, you know, it just looks visually darker, so that helps a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some like really weird, and mostly I think with the bad Terminator, you know, where he's just kind of a floaty little guy, you know. It's kind of like, that doesn't look real.
A floaty guy. Let's talk about the Rev 9 here, because of course this is an alternate future, or not an alternate future, but an altered future, where a different AI takes over, but much the same results come out the other end. And in this case, we have a different kind of Terminator. In this case, the Rev 9. I liked this concept because it kind of put the movie in horror territory at times. The way he functions, the way he moves around, it was pretty cool. And I'm not just talking visually, which in itself was kind of weird in a good way, but just the way it worked. Yes, again, harken back to what we know about Terminators, but the fact that they had to inject kind of new little facets to the way he gets around and stuff like that gave him more of like a weird distance and omniscient hold on the events, because, you know, he's a little bit more advanced. He just kind of can jack into the system and, you know, float around from there. And then, of course, you know, just the way he functions on a physical level, you know, he's basically a 2-in-1 package. We got the endoskeleton and this kind of liquid, I don't know, kind of like nanotech coating on him.
It's basically the TX, only not complete shit.
Yeah, TX fucking garbage, dude. But anyway, Yeah, I really liked him, and I like Diego Luna. I thought, I know, and that's another thing that people were bitching about. Oh, you gotta put a Mexican guy in. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but like, why does everybody gotta be fucking different race? Dude, it's in fucking Mexico.
Yeah.
They're supposed to infiltrate and kill, you know? God forbid you look like a damn Mexican.
That being said, as a Mexican male, I did feel attacked that the Mexican family had a freaking dog named Taco. I was like, homie, that's racist.
I don't know, man.
He was cute, don't get me wrong, but Taco, dude,
Ours is called Galleta. And clearly we eat cookies.
Damn, that's a good point. You know what? It takes it back. It's the most realistic depiction of Mexicans.
No, on a real note, though, this is a thing we've been noticing with some movies. The way the Mexican language and interactions are portrayed are sometimes like way off. I thought here they were pretty realistic. It's kind of how Mexicans talk.
Yeah.
Now, the translations were a little shoddy, but that's pretty much how Mexicans talk.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I missed... I'm assuming there was a subtitle that said it was in Mexico in the beginning. I think I missed that, and I thought this was L.A. for a while, and I was like, this is the most Mexican L.A. of all time.
What?
And then I realized, I was like, oh, it's in Mexico. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, so they got that. If you're looking for Mexican authenticity, that's how Mexican... Yes, we're not all like, hey, what's up, ese? And doing that shit. Just fucking people, guys. You know, so that's cool. I like that. And you know what I'm saying? But people, look, man, people clearly were butthurt at the idea of John being replaced. But God forbid it be, you know, again, I say replaced in quotes because he wasn't.
Except for in that one line where they go, he's literally been replaced.
Well, again, conceptually. Yeah. But, you know, then you put a little brown on there and then they get super butthurt. It's getting stupid. But anyway. What else, man? What do you got to say about this movie, good or bad? And it don't matter to me.
I have a weird plus that I noticed during the car chase, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's stuck throughout the movie, honestly, because I only noticed it in that first car chase. That first car chase has some really good sound design.
Mm-hmm.
Like some good ass sound effects, dude. It sounded real. Again, I only noticed it in that first scene, so maybe they got sucky after that. But I was sucking them sounds off, dude.
Yeah, pretty good sound. I will say I don't like the score in this as much as...
Yeah, it's not great.
Terminator 2, or 1, for that matter. It's not a great score. They kind of like do a little remix of the classic theme.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not fucking shit, at least. Let's talk about the elephant in the room besides us, and that's the 400-plus pound Terminator we like to call Arnold, a.k.a. Old Nold. I guess I could have just gone Arnold, but you know, Old Nold is the way I went. So Arnold, look, is the guy that they just keep insisting on bringing back, even though clearly there's these. Look, I don't know how hard this is. I understand from a studio point of view and from the audience, it's just retarded and keeps on wanting the same shit, that they want the same shit again because that's what they're used to. I get that. But at the same time, again, going back to this fucking thing, why would they... It doesn't even make sense if you really think about it in part 2. Why would John go out of his way to find a Terminator that looks like the one that wanted to kill his mom to send that specific Terminator back when they're everywhere to go protect himself and his mom? It doesn't even make sense.
I can only assume that the skin model for that infiltrator unit is like the one they made the most of. They literally made 800 of them.
I guess, man. But the point is, eventually, I mean, I get it for part 2 because, you know, that actually makes sense. But once you push it beyond that, it's like, all right, does it have to be the same model every time? You're going out of your way to get this model at this point. You know, there's other fucking Terminators. They're supposed to infiltrate. So if you have 800 Arnolds... That's right. Now I'm going with that. 800 means 800 of them. If you have 1,000 Arnolds standing around, it's gonna look a little suspicious. So there's got to be other Terminators. So you know.
I don't know, dude. If that old school Kenner commercial is anything to go by, they just stamp out the Arnolds, dude.
They do make a few Arnolds. I'll grant them that much. But come on, man. So look, I was glad to see different Terminators or Terminator in this. I guess we can sort of half count Grace. But they brought back Arnold for what felt like one last time, at least the way the movie structured. You know, I thought this was a good goodbye. Maybe a little too late for a goodbye, but a good goodbye.
Yeah.
I thought what they did with him was something they should have done ages ago. They kind of touched upon it in a lot of ways in the Sarah Connor Chronicles show, but never to this degree. A part of me wishes they would have lingered in a little bit more, but they do. I mean, we spent like 30 minutes with a guy, basically, so it's enough. But it was interesting to see this idea of a machine that has, or a Terminator that has finished what it set out to do, and now what? You know, it's got an unnaturally long life to live, and all it can do is just process information. So it decides to assimilate with society. And maybe this was a make it and break it moment for some people. I don't know, but I kind of really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think that's honestly that's my favorite thing this movie did. Was the stuff with Arnold. Not only did he play it very differently from all the other times he's played the T-800, but it just felt real, you know. And it weirdly felt like an extension of his character in Genesis. You know, like where he is with Sarah. So it was cool to bring that back, only, you know, expand it with his own family. Yeah, dude, I really like that.
And again, it harkens back to that whole undertone of family and, you know, loved ones in general that is, especially in part 2, the special edition especially. So that was my favorite thing in that. So here it is in this, in another way, repackaged, if you will.
It also kind of, like, in my opinion, it kind of adds a little bit to T2's, you know, in of course in the theatrical cut you get the idea that he just learned to like John Connor, but it's kind of a little bit changed with the director's cut. And this is kind of adds to that, you know. It's like he can learn to care for people instead of having that little switch turned, you know. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of implied that because Judgment Day ended, he doesn't have the orders in there basically to be a Terminator anymore. It is implied, but I think it's more. It's just cool to see that, you know. Yeah, the learning computer thing, and
it provides a nice kind of punctuation to where Sarah is, because she's, you know, kind of in a dark place, because that very same Terminator, which is not the same Terminator from Part 2, because I know somebody thought that, you know, so they had to put that line in there. I'm surprised how many people think that the Terminator in Terminator 2 is the same one from Part 1. What? Just talking to people, like, you do realize that's a different... How do you not get that? But anyway, whatever. Having this Terminator here, having assimilated into society in a positive way, provides kind of like a very satisfying conclusion to where Sarah is, because she is lost. She is angry. This is the very same Terminator that killed John. But, you know, she also, much like in Part 2, you know, comes to realize that there are nuances to things. And it begs the question, what would have happened had the events of the movie not rolled out as they did? Would she have killed him? Would she not? And it doesn't answer that. But I think that's a good thing, because I think the answer would kind of been disturbing. I don't think she would have let it go. But the point is, it provided an interesting fold that is worth exploring. Something, you know, that we don't indulge in too much in this fucking series.
I think that this is like the first time that they've managed to capture, you know, that I'm not to that degree, but you know, the dude. Okay, so T2 was the first movie I cried in, because, you know, you grow to care for the freaking T-800.
Right.
I think this is like the first time that they've actually achieved that again. Because you see what he's become, and, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the closest they've come to that.
Closest,
I wouldn't say they touched on, like, even the feet of T2 when it does it. But it's very close, because, yeah, man, I mean, who doesn't... who can't relate to that idea of loving someone? And I think the most poignant line is when he's pointedly asked if he loves his family, and he says, not like humans do. and then he reveals that he thought that that would be an advantage, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think that is like a super touching line, and
Yeah.
it shows where they could have gone if they explored that a little bit more. I would have loved that, but what we do get is pretty fucking cool to see. So yeah, man, that was interesting. That was very interesting. Now Sarah's character, what do you think about her? How they handled her? Are you for it, against it?
Yeah, dude, that was pretty rad. I'm not even gonna
Full
lie.
on hag mode, by the way.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I was horrifyingly attracted to Sarah Connor in this movie.
Man, scary.
Yeah, I was like, damn, dude. She's cool.
She's a horror hag in it.
I don't care, dude.
Yeah, she's 1,000 years old now and looking worse for wear, but she's still pretty badass. And as aforementioned, her character's kind of in a shambles, but this is still Sarah. And look, while some may feel that John got wasted, Sarah didn't. And she didn't because John literally got wasted, as in popped in the fucking dome.
Yeah.
Had he not gotten wasted, she wouldn't have ended up where she was, with kind of like a mentor mother role to the new person that has kind of taken her place and her sons. It's a good place for her to end up. And I think people are letting the fact that some kid got capped get in the way of that. You know what I'm saying? So I thought they did a good job with her.
Yeah, I would rather have Edward Furlong get capped IRL than having her die off screen in part 3.
Yeah, that was shit cheese. You know what I'm saying? Like, serious, dude. Plus that scene where they go to her fucking grave sucks.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
dude, but she was so cool. I'd be like, damn.
The other elephant in the room is the woman that people swore was being shoved down our throats, and that they were just going out of their way to make her a man that does everything on Earth. And of course, when you actually see the movie, this character called Grace is kind of a combination of a Terminator and Kyle Reese. She's a soldier. She has a loyalty to the person that is ultimately revealed to be the key to all this. So we're walking familiar ground, but at the same time new ground, because the way her character is presented is quite unlike what we've seen before. What did you think of this character, Grace, played here by Mackenzie Davis? Give it to me.
I thought she was fine. I could see people hating because they fooled, but I thought she was actually kind of cool. I wouldn't say she's like my favorite thing ever, but she was pretty cool in the movie, and she served the purpose of the film, and she fit pretty well.
You already probably know where I'm going with this. Would bang, one, but two, I thought she was fucking badass. Actually, I thought that they made her a flawed person, not just in terms of her, I wouldn't say attitude, but her character. They gave her an inherent weakness that's built into where the plot eventually leads up to. They kind of made her like a reflection of Sarah, being a little hard-nosed, but at the same time, let you know that there was something there that which again is eventually revealed, something there that's keeping her on edge. And then to reflect that in her physicality, she's a fucking badass, basically. I think she has the best action scenes in this movie when she's engaging in battle with the Rev 9. So yeah, man, that's probably the character I was most afraid of. If I was gonna get into the shoes of these people that are like, oh my god, there's a chick in this, that would be the character that I was most afraid of. Because you could easily see somebody using that character in that way.
Yeah.
But they don't. And, I think she pulled it off great. Also, if Dolph Lundgren was a chick, probably would be that chick, which now just brings it into a whole round circle of gayness.
You're super gay, dude, because you were just sucking her off. Now you want to suck Lundgren?
Tell me you wouldn't suck Lundgren.
That's a good point, dude.
That's what I'm saying,
he's got
man.
the nose for crime, after all.
He did Grace Jones. You'd have to get that second-hand Jones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But anyway, so there's that. And, of course, we have finally our de facto new John, the one that gets everybody's panties in a bunch, I guess. I thought she was fine. Likable. you know, they did the right thing by killing her family because what are you going to do? Fucking hate someone whose family just got shot in the freaking face? You hate her now?
No, I'm just saying I totally hate someone whose family just got shot
Oh,
in the
yeah,
face.
that's a good point. Would too.
No, I think she was fine. I think she's probably the weakest one of the characters. But that's not saying that she sucks.
Yeah.
She was okay. I think she was surprisingly kind of sucky in the future stuff. But she actually was really good in the future. I mean, and the current day stuff. You only get one scene where she's in the future, so it doesn't really matter. I just didn't buy it in that future scene.
Yeah, they could have indulged a little bit more in the future stuff. If only, I mean, it's clear, don't get me wrong, but if only for the sake of character.
Yeah.
To really give you an understanding of where these characters are. You get that through Grace and her loyalty, but it's kind of a moment they play off until a certain point.
Yeah.
So it would have served the movie a little better just to get a better feel for her as a leader. Though, again, you get that as the movie goes.
Yeah.
It's just you don't really know that that's where it's going. Or, you kind of do. It's not that well hidden, but, it's not out front either. They play both sides a little bit, if you will. So anyway, anything else you want to add to this before we wrap it up? Let me know, man.
I think the biggest thing is that I totally want to bang Sarah Connor for some damn reason.
Man, hag.
Dude, she was straight hagging it, but she's so cool that I would totally hit that.
Straight hagging.
Yeah.
I'm straight Lundgrening on this one. Smoking hot.
Dude, I would totally hit that old hag.
The last thing I guess we got to talk about is the fact that there was a lot of behind the scenes headbutting on this one. James Cameron is renowned for being a controlling person on the set, and he was involved in this movie. He was a producer, and he co-wrote the screenplay and all that jazz, or story at the very least. He was involved in this, so it was... Look, man, I don't want to hate on Tim Miller, but you kind of... How did you not expect that? This is a guy who's legendary in the terms of how he controls sets. So what's weird about this movie is that sometimes you can see the hand of Cameron very clearly, and sometimes you can see the hand of Miller very clearly. Some scenes feel like a Tim Miller movie. Some scenes feel like a James Cameron movie. The good thing is they kind of blend well together. So whatever. Now I know Tim Miller's not happy with this cut. Maybe we'll see a different cut. I don't know. Probably not. But fuck it, man. I enjoyed the cut. So suck my cock, Tim Miller.
Though I hate James Cameron with a fiery passion, I gotta say that it was probably good that he had to say, because I could totally see a Tim Miller only version sucking my crotch off. Not that I'm hating Tim Miller,
but he is involved in Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's involved in Sonic the Hedgehog, and he's like, he's an effects guy.
Yeah.
He's got one movie under his belt.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
And Sonic, like he insists on making Sonic work, dude. Let freaking James do his thing, even though I hate him with a fiery passion. He's made more cool movies than you.
Definitely made more cool movies. Except for Avatar, it's not that great.
Yeah, and Sonic the Hedgehog. That's right.
Why is he involved in
He's directing it now.
Actually, you know what? He is involved in Sonic the Hedgehog. You know how? Because James Cameron created an effects studio for True Lies. That studio is the one that went and fixed Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, and they went bankrupt and closed?
No. They went and fixed it. They didn't go bankrupt.
Yeah, when they fixed
No. Not the guys that went and fixed their own shit. I'm talking the guys that came in and fixed their shit.
Wait,
those guys closed. More than one studio worked on Sonic the Hedgehog.
There's 3 levels of fixing this movie?
There's many levels of fixing Sonic the Hedgehog. You know why? Because Sonic the Hedgehog sucks ass. And you can only throw so many tools at it before you realize it's Sonic.
By the time this movie comes out, it's going to be like $4 billion budget, and it's going to still suck a massive crotch.
I don't know, man. Sonic the Hedgehog might win an Oscar.
I can't wait till it sucks and everybody's like, yep, we cried over this movie.
Yeah, no shit. Who's crying over Sonic? Anyway, we're not. And we're definitely not crying over Terminator Dark Fate. So let's give it a final score on a scale of 1 to 10 relative to other Terminator movies. If Terminator 2 is a 10 and Terminator 1 is like a 9.5, Where does this one stand?
Uh,
Terminator 3, by the way, would be
0.
fucking like
1.
2.
Yeah.
It has some good effects here and there, and the fight scene's alright. End was okay. The rest sucks, so 2. Terminator Salvation, I'll give it like a fucking 6.5. It's pretty cool, man. I could have, I wanted to see what happened after that shit. Was Christian Bale, losing his mind on the set?
Yeah, it was classic.
Definitely wanted more of that. I'm not even joking. I definitely wanted more of that.
Oh yeah, that dude was
He was
wrong.
justified.
Yeah, that dude was wrong, dude.
Yeah, fuck that shit, dude.
Piece of shit.
Lied out of my face. I'm
Douche.
Bale, bitch.
Imagine that guy had walked in front of James Cameron's shot,
Oh, yeah, he did.
and everybody would have been sucking off James.
I forgot what we gave, what's it called?
Genesis.
Genesis. I think I gave it like an 8.5,
Yeah, I think
maybe
so.
somewhere around there. Not a popular opinion, I know, but whatever. So where do we put this one?
I think I'm gonna give it an 8. 0.5 less than Genesis. I still like Genesis more, but I
I
was
think
kind
you
of
started to say you like this one more.
no. I said this was a better movie,
Oh, okay.
but I
don't
like
know how
Genesis
that logic
more.
works. Okay, you like it more. I get you. I get where you're going.
I just think this was a little bit more well put together and more tonally consistent. Though I like the stuff that they set up in Genesis and that took more chances. Anyway, that being said, I don't know where I'm going with this, so yeah, 8.
I'll give it a 7. It's pretty damn fun. It's a fun time. Way better than I thought it was gonna be. Nothing like everybody was bitching about. But I thought they could have done a better job in a lot of respects. Honestly, this attempt should have just stopped ages ago.
Yeah.
Again, we all know this instinctually. It should have ended at 2. But if we're gonna get another one, this one was fine. It's cool, man. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm not gonna hate. I'm definitely not gonna hate. I am gonna hate on part 3. Sucked.
Yeah.
Or they're all part 3 really, but you know what I mean. Rise of Machines. But this one didn't suck, man.
I do kind of hope that having this movie come out with James Cameron involved and it's still failing miserably means that we can finally kill the series. Like, we've enjoyed, I think, more movies that we disliked in the series.
Yeah.
But just end it, dude.
Yeah.
Stop messing with it.
Yeah, I think,
Or at least do something completely different.
yeah, it's fucking clear by now. Like, dude, it's not gonna work the way you want it to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they...
And then when it does, for some people, they don't ever get a fucking conclusion.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see the conclusion of the Salvation trilogy. Not gonna happen. I wanted to see the conclusion of Sarah Connor Chronicles. Not gonna happen. I wanted to see where Genesis was going. Not gonna happen. I want to see where this was going. Not gonna happen. Gee, that stinks. That stinks worse than the stinky movie.
Yeah. Maybe they could send back a Terminator to, like, I don't know, fuel Japan or something, and then make no sense. That would be the next movie.
Whoop! Ended on that little nugget right there. Anyways, let us know what you think about this fucking movie that everybody hates. And fuck it, we don't. So eat that. Let us know, man. We don't care. I mean, we care about your opinion. We just don't care if it's different.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hashtag kill Terminator.
we're out.